If you are a woman of the Pacific Islands, your chances of entering politics are among the lowest in the world. But this group of women have not only succeeded against the odds, they are determined to change them. They are politicians from Pacific Island parliaments, and they recently gathered in Sydney to talk about gender equality with some of their Australian and New Zealand counterparts. The first ever Pacific Women's Parliamentary Partnerships Forum offered up a rare opportunity for the group to spend a weekend together, sharing experiences and building relationships.
I'm actually stoked and absolutely privileged to be part of this conference and to be amongst all these, top women leaders in the Pacific and being a young person coming in. This is just like, I would say, the ultimate of anyone who wanted to have that dream of being there for the people, to serve their people and to be mixed with these other leaders in the Pacific.
The forum was the first step for the 5-year program, co-hosted by the Australian Parliament and the Commonwealth Women Parliamentarians. It's funded by AusAid through its $320 million Pacific Women Shaping the Pacific initiative, which is targeting 3 areas, including ending violence against women, increasing political participation and improving economic prospects.
Firstly, it's a matter of people's rights, it's a matter of fairness, but it's also a matter of addressing entrenched poverty in these countries, because there is, as I said, there's plenty of evidence now, right from around the world, that involving women in decision-making, empowering them to take part in the decision-making processes of communities and of countries leads to better outcomes.
In the Pacific region, just 4% of parliamentarians are women, compared to the global average of around 20%.
They are inspiring, but they do face a lot of challenges, particularly in the Pacific. There's issues around domestic violence. There's obviously the ability to be able to even participate in democracy. So I think it's the onus is on us as Australian women parliamentarians to support our neighbours.
Examples of the challenges faced by female candidates were shared during the forum.
I had a very difficult time campaigning. As I've said, no roads, no nothing. I swam across flooded rivers. I walked through mountains. I walked in swamp, mosquito bites, bad weather.
Campaigning challenges aside, the group also discussed the key elements needed to gain office and what is required to make sure those elected are supported and eventually pass their skills and knowledge on to other hopefuls.
And in fact, within my party, I'm the first Indigenous woman to hold an electorate seat. Some people think that's fantastic, but actually it's an indictment of a system that has to wait such a long time for an Indigenous woman to be elected in one of the 2 major political parties in New Zealand. So I'm looking forward to the challenge that this forum brings to all of us, because I think holding governments accountable, holding political parties accountable will ultimately be the true test. And then for each of us, it's what is the most appropriate mechanism to get the desired outcome.
Bougainville is so far the only Pacific Island country which has introduced reserved seats. 3 women now sit in its parliament.
I think the way forward is when a woman is elected into the parliament, she must remember the fact that she is a role model. That's 1. 2, when a woman is elected into the parliament, in the country, we need to network because you will find that we will really need each other to convince the community to know that, yes, women can also make a difference. The third part of it is, I believe, the sharing of resources. You will find that within the South Pacific region, they may not have the enough resources that other countries have. But here I'm talking about Australia, maybe having the big part, especially in resources, funding the other Pacific country sisters regions.
Australian MPs are keen to offer their support.
I actually did travel to the Solomons and to Papua New Guinea on a parliamentary delegation, and one of the concerning things for me was when I asked some of the bright young women that I met on that, maybe you should think about going into politics. It didn't seem like it was an option for them, so I think it's really important we all put our heads together and work out how we can actually take female representation in our parliaments forward.
The one thing I think I've learned the most in politics is you need two things. You need energy and you need persistence. And the women in that room were showing that in spades today. And if you have those two things, then you can give leadership. And that's what these women are aspiring to do, to lead. And there is an obligation on those of us who arrive into the parliamentary arena to ensure that we don't muck it up for other women.
The group was presented with a plan which outlines 6 steps to fast-track women into politics, including constitutional reform, changes to electoral and party systems, and reserved seats and quotas.
And women have to get their voices in. If they don't, then things like marital rights, land rights, property rights, rights to access and political rights are never going to be there.
Well, with this forum, this really is an eye-opener for me, coming here and seeing a lot of the Pacific women members of Parliament in this forum. And for me, we are talking about empowering women, and I'd like to see that happening.
And I also think it's incredibly appropriate that Pacific women are going to be leading this, because without Pacific women at the centre of any initiatives, it will fail.
Those at the forum agreed to pursue 12 priorities, including mentoring between women parliamentarians.
I really see it narrowing down. As we develop and we develop an affinity for each other, you'll find that certain people will have a better relationship with others, and I'm hoping that then will be a natural flow on, that we will work with these people, with the country or the individuals to improve the lot.
I think it's leading by example, and for Pacific women to see other Pacific women was even more important. To say, well, look, we're doing this in Kiribati, you can do it in the Solomons. We're doing it in Samoa, you can do it, we're doing it in the Cook Islands. That is a terrific message.